First of all, I want to acknowledge covered out. Best of luck to you. Responding to the arguments of Trevor's group, we maintain our position that students should not be paid for playing intercollegiate sports in colleges. As we mentioned earlier, the primary goal of every student in college or university is to study, gain knowledge and skills, instead of making money out of the school. We can't emphasize enough that every single sport played in college should be a voluntary activity for each student, with the goal of maintaining good health in line with the maxim mens sana in corpore sana, which means sign mind, sign body. The students are not professional, let alone college employees, therefore they should not be paid for playing sports in college.
Our opponents claim that because the NCAA makes millions of dollars every year, that colleges and players should also get the money from that, and therefore the students, they would be left without the money, and they wouldn't get their share. So we think that NCAA should be able to contribute to each college individually, by their programs, or even if not athletically, they could be educationally by giving capital improvements to the facilities such as educational resources, libraries, classrooms, labs, and different advanced equipment. And we think that the money earned on behalf of student athletes should mostly return to these schools. As far as the athletes are concerned, all of the travel expenses to faraway cities and maybe even different countries, and the obvious equipment funds should be sponsored by all this profit. But definitely athletes should not be paid because they're still not fully developed.
Another argument our opponents claim is that the students should be compensated because they put their bodies at risk for so many concussions that later they cannot play in the National League and earn millions from playing. We believe that, first of all, it's preposterous idea that throwing money on multiple concussed students will fix their neurological problems and ensure their access to the National Leagues. We believe that they should be helped with their concussions and treated, but it's when 30% of the students receive multiple dangerous concussions, the whole idea of such competitive sports at such a young age should be reevaluated.
We have to reiterate that sports in college should be played for fun and for healthy competition rather than all or nothing attitude. The schools and the NCAA should ensure safe play and should invest in state-of-the-art equipment that prevents injuries. Also, substantially more money should be put into research of injuries and prevention. For example, say Matus's father works for a company that develops a portable device that would detect concussions and more serious traumatic brain injury by taking EEG in the field. Others develop helmets that contain digital chips inside monitoring blows to the head so that players can be sidelined before they take too much. I think that these are brilliant ideas, and more of the NCAA's money should be spent on this kind of improvement.
T-Dot Money's squad said that student athletes should be paid because they dedicate so much of their time to sports and they have very little time to spend on learning. Well, this is wrong because as if money would be able to give them more time in desirable classes, it doesn't make sense. They were admitted just because they played very well and not thanks to their scholastic aptitude, then all they had to deliver. Of course, as mastery comes from practice. The question here is the priorities and why students come to colleges in order to learn in preparation for a successful and creative life and get qualified for the National Leagues. Are colleges really the preschools, the NFL, or NBA? Maybe it's time to find another source of athletic talent and leave schools to those who want to study. By freeing many students lost, the colleges might be more accessible to candidates with mediocre GPAs who can benefit greatly from intellectually nurturing environment. This kind of solution will benefit both sides, professional players and college students.
Finally, our opponents compared the life of unpaid student athletes to that of the animals in the zoo because they have only a dorm and a free meal plan. Although we think that they are wrong in doing the work that they should be doing, we do not think that they found themselves in a situation against their will. They are not treated like animals, although sometimes act like ones. We should suggest them to change their life view and concentrate on academics rather than sports. Then everybody will treat them as lion kings.
In conclusion, we have to admit that to be athletes in college, it's difficult for them because their admission contracts require them to play in order to continue receiving scholarships. But because of these reasons that my group just stated, we stand by the belief that athletes should not be paid.